Welcome back to live coverage here on Speed Vision. The Petit Le Mans. Derek Daly, Dorsey Schrader, and Jeremy Dale here in the booth. We have Calvin Fish and Sandy Heng down in the pit lane. We're covering everything for you, flag to flag. Quick email, Dave Batson from Cocoa, Florida asks, any chance AMLS would race at Indy? No. Next question.
Now you can't say that.
Are you sure?
You don't know.
I'm certain, let me tell you.
Not next year, we know that.
Let me tell you.
Won't happen next year.
In daylight or at night. There was a suggestion that maybe they'd run a night race at Indy sometime. I doubt. Well, you never know.
Never's a long time.
One of the PANOZ cars just passed the Cadillac, and the number 77, the Audi, right behind the Cadillac. Of course, Cadillac have had a bit of a difficult time in their first year here in the American Le Mans Series. A very public arena, of course, is motor racing because of television on a global level. This team is led by Herb Fischel, who basically gives the direction of where GM Motorsports goes. I sat down with him this afternoon to ask him just about the trying times he coped with sports car racing.
We're not going to be turf sensitive about how we go forward with our program. Our objective in every aspect of the program is to pull together the best talent, the best technology, the best resources we can to get the job done. And hopefully in doing that, we'll end up with both a strong American influence and probably some European influence at the same time. You have to separate Le Mans and the series. Le Mans is unique unto itself. And Le Mans ended up being the most challenging race I'd ever participated in. And we as a company have participated in. So I think that the lessons learned there were things that probably you, other journalists, and those that have competed there for many years were trying to tell us. But unfortunately, we had to learn some of them the hard way. I think the most significant thing we left Le Mans with this year was that our key executives, a lot of whom were going there the first time, came away with a full appreciation and understanding about how important that event is. It's big, it's significant for any automotive manufacturer, and looking at the bigger picture for General Motors as we embark with Cadillac in the European market and really around the globe. Le Mans is a very important part of that whole venture. I think in the European market in particular, and in America too, Cadillac has to get in there with Mercedes, BMW, and demonstrate the same kind of aggressive stature, innovative ideas, excitement. Pure and simple, Cadillac has got to get something exciting going about its brand, and racing is a natural place to do that. And I think the decision to go Formula One is a business case unique unto itself. And we monitor what's going on in Formula One. I occasionally attend a race because I think it's the place to be. And I would hope that at some time in General Motors that we would decide that, yes, we need to be there. Right now, that's not in the cards.
I will tell you, that was a fascinating discussion I had with Herb Fischel. Just think of all the things he said there. He would ultimately like GM to someday go Formula One. But I think his earlier question and subsequent dealt with Le Mans, how important that is, how important it is to battle against Jaguar, against Mercedes, against all the big names who are their showroom competitors. And also, he also said, remember, that they would not have boundaries as regards who is employed in this racing team. If it takes European people to come in and help Cadillac, they will do that. That tells me they're going to plug in some European influence here to next year's program.
And I also think that what's interesting about that is that he said you have to separate Le Mans from everything else. It's unique unto itself. It's a very unique event, and it's a very unique set of circumstances where you have to really build a car with the focus on going to Le Mans and design it for that. And then, you know, these racetracks are very different from Le Mans. So you have to look at it as a separate event. You have to say, okay, this is what we need to do here, and this is what we need to do over here.
You know, Derek, on this time of the pond, the times are changing, and we always had the 24 Hours of Daytona, probably the second most important race to Le Mans. But now look at this event here. This is a very pivotal event for North America. This is a very big spectator event that cannot be denied anymore.
Exactly, but Le Mans still remains the classic, and that's why Teams like Cadillac want to go there. Teams like Chrysler with ORECA want to go back to Le Mans. That's why they want to make the decision to move up into the next class.
Yes, well, the situation with that is that I understand that they will be swapping chassis. Remember, they went to Le Mans very late with those Reynard chassis. Remember, Reynard had a lot of problems at the beginning of the season. The news I hear on the street is they will definitely be back next year with Dallara chassis. Remember, Dallara, of course, built the famous Ferrari 333. Dallara have a brand new sports prototype design, but I also hear there's a possibility that Dodge may even buy the whole of the Dallara organization. So that's the news on the street.
Thank you, Andrew. Your news on the street is usually fairly accurate. Quick word here, a quick email here from Scott Ward, Dayton, Ohio. Wants to know any plans for Ferrari to race in the ALMS. Actually, Dallara built that Ferrari car, and right now there are no plans for Ferrari to return to the ALMS. We'll be back. We are back. We are live. Road Atlanta, Petit Le Mans on Speed Vision. It is dark, but it is just as fast as ever. The Audi cars were in the between 13 and 15, 1 minute 15, 1 minute 13 during the daytime. They're still doing those type of times at night. We're on board the number 5 car. This is the leading GT car, the GT class, Dick Barber's car. Lucas Luhr and Dirk Mueller. I believe it is Dirk Mueller behind the wheel as we speak. We're going to follow him around here because not only can you hear the engine well. Oh, yikes.
Someone's off the road there.
It's a Viper. I believe they were the white stripes of a Viper.
Interesting as you come up the hill into 3 there.
Oh,
how there you go.
There's an Audi.
Life in a GT car. As you come up the hill into turn 3 there, and revealed for you is a bunch of dirt and dust in the air and a car off the road, and that's how things can really sneak up on you here at Road Atlanta.
Down at the far end of the track. This is turn 6,
7 right here.
and 7.
Right.
Remember the telemetry we watched earlier on. 160 miles an hour here. Here's the PANOZ, flies by. They're doing almost 190 miles an hour. Oh, and there's the Viper. That was the one that went off the road earlier. Yikes, both sides.
And that is the other one of the Audis. Tailpipes flashing in your face.
Man, these Barber cars have just been whacked upside down and sideways most of the day. Calvin?
Well, the number 5 car, if you remember, Derek, won at Sebring, they won at Le Mans, and then were disqualified for having a fuel cell that was 1 litre too big. If they win here tonight and they hadn't got disqualified at Le Mans, they would have been on a bonus of 275 grand. If you win 3 or 4, Le Mans, Sebring, here or Adelaide, that's a 275 grand bonus. Now, if they win tonight and go to Adelaide and win there, they'll still capture the award, but a pretty costly mistake there at Le Mans.
Yes, indeed, an oversight. The fuel tank just too big. You have no argument. BMW had the same problem after an incredible race and a win at Sears Point. There was a brand new car that BMW had built, and the fuel tank again was oversized. What they do is the tanks are built too big, and then you actually put little, almost like ping pong balls, into the tank. It's one of the Corvettes down inside the number 5 car, but you put ping pong ball type balls into the tank, which fills it up and allows just exactly the right amount of fuel in. Well, there was a mistake, and the BMW got disqualified, and the Porsche got disqualified from Le Mans. That was a major, major, major drop-off. And there's your leader, Alan McNish. We don't know whether he will go to the end or not, or whether Capella will relieve him. We're pretty sure Alboreto is finished for his day's work. We'll be back. Welcome back. This is a look back, 1970 at the Great Le Mans 24-hour race. And this is great footage because watch the onboard camera shots right here That is one of the Ferraris. Now watch the side-by-side stuff. Right here, watch them touch. Watch it. Boom, off on the grass. We saw that today. And in fact, this is 30 years ago. Well, 30 years ago, Road Atlanta came into being. Vic Elford was on the pole that day, and the winner was Tony Dean. And Tony Dean's son, Richard Dean, believe it or not, is here this weekend. And here is a sad sight for Dick Barber and for this number 5 car, the leader in the GT category. They are in deep trouble. Calvin?
Yes, they are, Derek. Dirk Muller behind the wheel. He brought it in. We just talked about winning that bonus possibly. That is not going to happen if they don't win here tonight. Gear selection problem. You see the mechanics under there with a flashlight. They're working away in the mid part of the car trying to get the gear selection either freed up. I'm not sure if that's an internal problem in the gearbox itself or maybe just linkage, but Dirk Muller has not got any gears right now. So big problems for the 5 machine.
And that's remarkable because we were on board with him for about a lap and a half, and the car seemed perfect. Although there was one run down to turn 6 there where I thought he never quite got up to speed. So maybe we were in on the beginnings of that.
Well, you see him in there with the gear shift. He's moving that all around. Mechanics, of course, yelling at him from underneath the car to try anything. No avail, it looks like.
And there is his teammate, Sasha Masson and Bob Wallach. We saw them in the gravel trap earlier on. They are 2 laps behind. Now they are 1 lap behind their own team cars. And that will, if Lucas Luhr and Dirk Muller stay in trouble, Shane Lewis, Kurt Wagner, and Bob Mazzuccolo in the Aspen Knowles car will move up into that top 1-2 position. So we're going to keep a good close eye on that number 5 car to see can they fix that gear selection problems. Boy, Dick Barber came here with 3 of the strongest cars in the GT field. It was a boxing match for most of the first 2 hours, and now they run into these type of mechanical problems.
Well, he's leaving pit lane right now, so maybe we can ride a lap and listen along.
He can't shift. He can't shift. As he went up out of the pit lane, he was stuck in first gear. He tried to shift to second. Hear it now, he's stuck in 1 gear. It's first gear at that.
Yeah, he's done. Straight back to the pits. This will lose him a 2nd lap, which means Masson and Wallach will take the lead in the GT class, and Lewis Wagner and Bob Mazzuccolo in a new team run by Mike. Whoa, boy, he's got to stay out of the way now.
He's tried 3 times for 2nd gear. He did not get it, and he's in risk of getting stuck into a neutral and having to park. So right now, 1st gear is a long way back home.
A long, long way. So Lucas Luhr and Dirk Muller, they have worked for 8 hours to get this car into the lead, and now they watch the whole thing disappear as the number 2 PANOZ comes in. Calvin?
KATOH jumps out. It's going to be Klaus Graf jumping in, the young German. He does a great job in these cars. He's really been like their super sub this year. Has run at Le Mans a couple of times, and he's always quick, and he's just looking for an opportunity. He says it's a difficult decision, though, when you're only doing 2 or 3 races a year to really try and make your career move on, so he's unsure of his options for next season.
And that number 2 PANOZ is still in 5th place. So you have McNish in the Audi, the BMW with Leto Muller is 2nd, Pirro, Biele, Christensen in the Audi is 3rd, Brabham Magnussen in the PANOZ 4th, Graf, O'Connell and KATOH in 5th place. And there is the number 21, the Aspen Knowles car, Shane Lewis. We followed him at the Le Mans 24-hour race, and boy, he had terrible luck. Got caught in an oil slick by a P car, went off the road, was unconscious for a short time. Then they've had terrible luck since then. They were hit in Texas on the opening lap, I believe. This is Mike Colucci. You remember Mike Colucci, Dorsey, for many years. Ran some of the leading 956s, 962s as we watched the number 5 car come back in again.
And a driver change, that's surprising because I wouldn't want to get into that car with a 1st gear car only.
Well, the body language getting out of the car said it all.
Yeah.
Good point, great point.
Well, if they can't fix that, obviously they won't even attempt to go back out and run around in 1st gears. It's too dangerous, and there's no use in it to begin with.
That is Lucas Luhr, who just got in. Calvin?
Yeah, Lucas Luhr has jumped in and they're going to try and do work on the car. Dirk Muller jumped out. He just threw his gloves over the wall in disgust. The team are going to change tires, do all the routine stuff, and then we expect them to get back underneath and try and effect some kind of repair. And we'll try and get a word with Dirk, but he really was not in the best frame of mind when he jumped out. As you can imagine, they've done a great job all year, and this team was bulletproof at one stage, and now we're seeing a few chinks in the armor, but that's just the level of the competition. They're being pushed hard every weekend, and they just have to push harder and harder, and that stresses out the equipment.
And these are the young kids. These are the Porsche factory junior team. Of course, Porsche wants to develop these young kids to put them into higher classes of racing. They're very, very quick. This is in fact a factory team, although it's not promoted as such as being a factory team. Dick Barber definitely runs a factory team, but here's a good look at the Aspen Knowles car. Now on the same lap, I believe, 5 and 51, the 21 car, Shane Lewis, Kurt Wagner, and Bob Mazzucola. Shane Lewis is behind the wheel right now. They are about, they are 7 laps down, so they got themselves in trouble earlier on. But you know what? The way the reliability has run here with the leading Porsches, if Shane Lewis can just keep this thing out of trouble, he could be looking real good here, Calvin.
Well, there's big problems here with Mueller's car. Look at the rear end, guys. The rear wing is completely gone. There's a lot of damage to the rear corner of the bodywork. He looked like he got into it on the left side. There's a lot of tire marks, and I'm not sure how long. The underwing looks okay. The top of the bodywork is not bad, but they're now going to peel off the rear deck lid and then go to work on trying to get the rear wing back on there. He's got 2 laps over the 3rd place. I believe it's the 78 car running 3rd, but this is big-time news in the championship. Mueller currently leads just by a handful of points, and these guys, I mean, he suffered bad luck here last year, of course, when he almost threw it away and lost the win when he came down into the chicane area, and now we're looking at the damage. The bottom of the wing support looks okay. They're wiggling around like there may be some suspension damage which has created this problem. We're trying to get a close look here. The mechanics are struggling in the dark here to really see what's going on. They're looking at the bottom suspension piece and around the tail, but I now see a rear wing coming overboard. They're trying to get a new rear wing in position, but a lot of damage here. This does not look like a quick fix.
This is no good here. This is no good.
3-lap lead, that will go away pretty quickly with a change like that as the Audi guys look onto our telecast.
Well, it definitely takes a lot of pressure off Alan McNish because that car was only a lap behind, so it takes a little bit of pressure off McNish, but it does leave the number 78 car the opportunity to move up into 2nd place. So these guys have decided, hey, we're here, let's do a driver change while we're fixing the rear wing.
And I will tell you, our Mauro Fischer, our cameraman in the pit lane, is just bringing us closer than we've ever been before. Great pictures here. Mauro, you're doing a great job. JJ Leto, just look at the look on his face as he gets in and wonders, is this thing going to disappear, and will they make it easy for the complete Audi team? And these are live pictures. That is JJ Leto sits in frustration as they try and repair the back of this BMW. And now he has just lost 2nd place. Pirro, the Audis now run 1st and 2nd. And we can show you a little bit of what happened here. And this looks like it's the top of the S's, Jeremy.
This is turn 3, and as far as we can see, there's the car there, and the car looks like it's all by itself. Now, I thought I might have seen a little spark there. It was hard to tell, but he spins it, and obviously he must have gotten into the tires because he tore the wing right off the back of the car.
Yeah, there's not much room between the grass that you saw him going towards and that wall right there, which is lined in tires, so that's what happened.
Calvin?
Well, we're with you, old Mueller. He just watched the replay. What happened there in the S's?
Well, was top of the S. Becknish passed me just before, and I just went a bit wide over that curb over there and picked up some shit on the tire, and I just went on throttle and spun it. I mean, it's not the easiest car to drive, but I mean, yeah, long race.
This place has been cruel to you, Jorg, the last 2 years.
It looks like, yeah. I mean, second in the first year, third last year, but I really wanted to win it this year, you know. It's a shame that things like this happen. I mean, it's still racing.
Is this an indication of the pace of these endurance races? I mean, it's 10 hours, but it's like a sprint race for you guys. You have to go flat out.
Yeah, definitely have to if you want to win. It's not like a Grand Pass race and 10 years ago. I mean, 10 years ago there were a lot of privateers, but now it's factory teams and you have to go flat out all the time, otherwise you can't win.
Problems for the BMW factory, but Audi are looking in better shape, Andrew.
Yeah, I've got Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich with me here, who's the head of Audi Sport. Well, it's certainly going well. Looks like you're going to be first and second now. First and second after the problem with the BMW.
I mean, I'm happy about the position, but I'm not happy about the bad luck of others.
Everything's going very well now. Are you likely to have any might you have any team orders?
I mean, the distance between the two cars is clear. They both should go as quick as possibly home. The 78 car has a problem because it has a missing diffuser, so it can't go the full speed. So our target has to be to go home without troubles. And we know it's difficult enough.
And now the championship, the American Le Mans Series Championship, is looking good for Audi to add to your Le Mans victory.
Yeah, I mean, every positive result helps to come to the final result. But you know, the season is still going on.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ulrich.
And the distance that he mentions between those two cars is now as much as 4 laps, as JJ Leto and Jörg Müller now drop down the listing. They are now down to 5th place behind both PANOZ cars. Not looking good for BMW. Calvin?
Yeah.
Great question to Müller. The second one.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. I thought he was pretty honest.
He's the one we just interviewed there. Right there, the guy we just spoke to.
Calvin.
Yeah.
So the rear wing on the BMW is not mounted necessarily to the bodywork, so he damaged the rear wing mounting post also.
Yeah,
that's why they're still in there.
This thing is not user-friendly when it comes to changing it, Derek. There's so many pieces they have to unbolt. I mean, it's not Audi-like in its design. Let's put it that way.
For you guys in the pits, the Lewis Wagner car is now 3 laps behind, running in 3rd place.
Okay, so the 51 car, that car is actually in pits right now.
Okay, so the Lewis, the number 21 Aspen Knowles car may be a factor.
Okay.
This is Andrew. We still haven't had a word for the 6th place car of Bernard and his fellow Frenchman. Do you want?
We are back, we are live, and that is Jörg Müller, who can only just think about what might have been. And this is the 2nd year in a row he can think about what might have been, because last year he was leading the race within sight of victory circle, and this happened. In the braking zone, locks up the rear brakes and throws the whole thing off the road into the gravel trap. End of the day. Hands the race to the PANOZ team. He had an opportunity, or a second chance, for a reprieve. Again, he's in contention to win, but he spins it coming out of the S's, backs it into the guardrail, and now he can just stand there and think about how good his testing is with the Williams Formula 1 car and the Michelin tires.
Boy, a tough couple of years for Jörg Mueller, no question about it.
I wonder what's JJ thinking about now.
Now, we've heard these guys talking about getting offline and picking up the spent rubber and having a hard time getting it off, and that's what he was referring to when he said he got off and got the tires full. Just once you get that condition that you lose all your grip, but still a costly mistake.
Well, Johnny O'Connell said that. He said, you know, yeah, we're going offline a lot, and we're getting a lot of pickup, and that is really affecting the drivability of the car and the amount of grip the car has. So it's not hard to buy into that, but you know, you have to compensate for that. I mean, you know that that's a factor, you know it's there, so you compensate for that in the way you drive the car.
Quick couple of emails, boys. We're now over 2,000. Chris Kent asks us, which car is more aerodynamic, Formula 1 or Audi? The answer is Audi. It generates more downforce with less drag because it is a full body. The open wheels on a Formula 1 car create so much drag that the C of G goes, or what am I
Coefficient of friction.
Coefficient of drag goes up because of the open wheels. The Audis also go around corners faster than a Formula 1 car because of the enormous downforce.
And also, you have to take into consideration the Formula 1 cars with the treaded tires or the cut tires have a reduction in grip, and these cars, of course, have regular racing slicks, so they do, in fact, corner harder.
Nathan Lewis sent us an email. Does the Petit Le Mans winner qualify that team for the Le Mans 24-hour race? The answer is yes. They get an automatic entry to the Le Mans 24-hour race. And Sean Powers, thank you, Sean, for the email from Peoria, Arizona. How do Audi light their numbers? They have a tiny little light, very light, the light that lights your the number plate on the back of your car that just shines sideways, but the numbers are actually a what do you call it? Luminous, reflective. Luminous where I come from. Reflective where you come from.
They show up well at night too. Just wanted to let you know.
Where Dorsey comes from, they show up well at night.
In layman's terms, redneck terms, it means it shows up real good at night.
Are you a redneck?
When I need to be.
He's working on it. If he's not, he wants to be.
That's why Dorsey isn't in the car this weekend. He's a redneck. Actually, Dorsey is in a car, was in a car just a couple of days ago at Daytona, testing the champion Lola with the Porsche engine, and they are working on exciting plans, Dorsey. Is that right for next year?
Yeah, we're going to be back at full swing next year, hopefully with a couple different cars.
Boy, is this ever different than Audi last year at Le Mans with their 4-minute gearbox changes?
Yeah, Audi changes the suspension and the gearbox in 4 minutes, and BMW changed the rear bodywork in a lot longer. We'll be back. We are back, and this is JJ Leto back out in the BMW, and he has now dropped. He's still in 5th place, 339 laps, 1 lap ahead of Eric Bernard and Emmanuel Collard in the Cadillac, and they are 6th place. 7th is Angelelli, Taylor, and Van der Poel in the other Cadillac, and that is the last P car running before the first of the Vipers, who is now leading the GTS category, the Archer Huisman Viper, which may be right there. But the BMW lost an enormous amount of time. They now are 340 laps, which is 23 laps behind the Audi. That is one of the Cadillacs chasing the BMW. Hard to see at night. Hard for us to see and hard for them to see.
Certainly one thing the Cadillacs have had going for them is pretty reasonable reliability. They haven't had the pace of some of the Audis or the BMWs, but their reliability has actually been quite good. And certainly in endurance racing, that's half the battle.
Yes, it is. They still have the turbocharged engine here. They have been testing with a normally aspirated engine, trying to get a decision on what they may do for next year. Oh, we have oil and debris on the racetrack.
That's not good at night.
Down at the
Well, right
arcade.
there, you can see somebody's been off there into the gravel pit.
Andrew?
Yeah, I certainly am, and Alan McNish climbs out of the seat, chucks his seat extension into the pits, and he's strapping in Dindo Capello now, and I think Dindo's going to take it to the checkered flag. Of course, there's many a slip between cup and lip, but everything looking absolutely fine here. I think they're going to change the tyres, not absolutely certain here. And just looking at those numbers, we did have that email in about the numbers, and in fact, Derek, sorry to tell you, we're absolutely wrong. They have no little light, like a rear number plate light, lighting those up. It's a special luminescent number, and it's actually backlit, and it's all high technology stuff, as you'd expect here from Audi. And as you see there, we've got 4 new Michelins, fresh Michelins going on. This could be the very last set they put on, actually, and Dindo Capello gets a little bit of extra windscreen. You see that going on, Dindo. It's just that little bit taller than Alan, and the car is rolling forward. It is fired up, and off it goes. We're going to try and get some words with Alan McNish.
So things have changed on how they light the numbers. Actually, as the car left there, you got a good shot of the cockpit surround that Audi use. It is technically a 2-seat car, but they actually run an extension piece down the left side of the driver to actually make that almost a single-seat cockpit, which actually makes it a lot stiffer. Move back to the GTS leader, which is the number 92 Viper, I believe. There it is there. The number 92 car, Tommy Archer, Patrick Huisman, and Boris Derichberg from Paris and France, strolling along their lead now in the number 92 car. They've done 322 laps, 1 lap ahead of Ron Fellows and Chris Kneifel and Justin Bell in the Corvette. Alan McNish has to do his hair before he comes on TV with us. Andrew?
Yeah, they're calling him Magic Mac down here. Another great stint from you, Alan, and now, well, you're smiling.
Not smiling yet. We've got still about another hour to go. We got the car back just about in the lead. I was able to pull a little bit of a gap. Thankfully, Jörg Müller made it a little bit easier by giving us another lap when he crashed. But, you know, I've been in this situation before. I'm not counting until the checker's actually dropped.
What's the circuit condition like at the moment? A lot of rubber out there.
Circuit's not too bad. It's a bit slippery because someone's just dropped oil in the chicane. But the main problem is some of the back markers. They're trying to be very nice. They're trying to get out of the way. But I don't know what the hell they're going to do. And they've already committed to try and passing them one way, and sometimes they go the other.
So your work's done for the day?
Well, it appears so. It's down to Dindo now.
Alan, congratulations. What a fantastic stint you had in the beginning, and now another great stint.
Thank you very much.
Well, just while you're on, can I just ask you about the Toyota testing? Have you started that?
Yeah, that's been going very, very well. I came directly from a test with Toyota to here, and we've been working extremely hard on that program. And to be honest with you, though, my main focus at the moment is with Audi trying to win this race, and I'll take that over for 2001.
Alan, great to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job, Alan. The GTS leader now in the number 92 car. It appears that as these boys stop, they swap the lead. So if they stand, we do a driver change, as you can see. So as they stop here, we're going to keep a good close eye on the number 3 Corvette to see if they can drag themselves at least onto the same lap and maybe even into the lead.
Yeah, Derek, I actually think that when the point at which you had looked at the scoring before was just kind of bad timing, because I had looked at it just before you, and it was showing about a 51-second lead for the 92 car over the number 3 Corvette of Ron Fellows, Justin Bell, and Chris Kneifel. So I do believe that on this whole pit stop sequence, they have a chance to take the car into the lead, but we'll see how long this takes.
Tommy Archer is now in. This has been one of the fights we have focused on. Good luck there at Tommy Archer. Boy, he's been around a long time in so many different cars, but has represented America so well throughout the FIA GT Championships and all through, in fact, this Viper program. Have their own race shop in Minnesota somewhere, I believe. Is it?
Duluth, where it's so cold you can't even believe it.
Wouldn't suit you, would it?
Not me, I'm going to Florida.
Exactly. Yeah. And there is the number 4 car. So we now still show, officially according to the scoring, that the number 3 Corvette is still shown behind Tommy Archer in that number 92. However, let's wait one more lap till they come all the way around, and then we'll see the scoring alter that. But there is your top 10, and you can see that the GTS cars are well in the picture. 7 of the P cars still running, and we have less than 1 hour left of the Petit Le Mans. We'll be back.
Last weekend at Indianapolis, Patrick Huisman clinched his 4th, yes, say it again, 4th consecutive Porsche Super Cup title. Patrick, congratulations on winning that Porsche Super Cup first.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's an incredible result, and it has never happened before. I'm very happy, and hope to move on next year. It's about time, I guess.
Meanwhile, you switched to a Viper. How difficult is it to go from the Porsche to the Viper?
Definitely, it's a completely different character car-wise, and I did Le Mans with the ORECA Viper team, and we did some testing before this race, so the change wasn't too big for me, and I know the car by now. I think I feel pretty comfortable.
But you're in a big battle too. You've been in a very big battle with the Corvettes.
Yeah, I mean, from the first lap on, we're changing positions all the time within the team and with the Corvettes, and it's definitely not over yet. They're pushing very hard. We had some bad luck in the dark with some back markers, but furthermore, the Dodge Viper is running faultlessly.
Okay, thanks. Over to you, Calvin.
Well, the number 3 car is in, Andrew, and routine stop. Ron Fellows is actually staying in. Chris Kneifel hopped over the wall, expected to jump in, but Ron said, I'm fine. Maybe he'll take it the rest of the way. Fueling was done. New set of Goodyears. Typically, they just single stint these. He's trying to get it fired up. There's a problem here. Problem with the number 3 car. Slight delay, and eventually it refires, but there was a bit of a panic there by Ron Fellows when he tried to fire it back up.
And right now, the Corvettes are running 1st and 2nd in the GTS class, running 8th and 9th overall as we speak. But these pit stops seem to put alternate leaders in this class as they make these pit stops, as we watch the girls still running around, and the measles are still getting worse on that car, Dorsey.
I'm sorry, guys. Derek, just one last note before we leave the GTS cars. With about 36, 35 laps to go, that is right on the fuel limit for the Corvette, and that is very, very close. So I think both of these cars, both the Viper and the Corvette, this may come down to a splash and go. It may come down to one of these cars running out of fuel, because neither one of them is going to want to stop, because they're going to give up the lead.
And of course, Ron Fellows probably knows that. That's why he stayed in. He's the fastest driver on that team. He wants to win.
Let's get the answer, Calvin.
Well, Chris Kneifel was expecting to jump in the 3 car, but Ron said he's okay. Is it a question of keeping Ron in rhythm and someone who's really in tune with the nighttime driving?
I suppose, actually, what I really think is Gary Claudio, one of our program managers, he gave Andy Pilgrim an Ironman t-shirt because of all the driving he did at Le Mans, and I think that might have got under Ron's skin, so he ain't getting out of the 3 car.
He wants one for his wardrobe, right?
He wants an Ironman shirt for himself.
Seeing you guys, the Vipers and the Vets, go down to the wire so many times, you personally missed out on that win at the Daytona 24-hour by 30 seconds. We're going to look like a similar result one way or the other tonight?
You know, we're trying the best we can. Again, early in the race, it was 1 step forward, two steps back for the 3 car, but we're not quitting.
What's the fuel looking like, Chris? Do you have to make another stop here?
I was just told we can go to the end.
Okay, it's going to be marginal though, right?
What's the difference? You make it.
As long as you got enough, mate. Best of luck.
Thanks, Cal.
Exactly. What's the difference? As long as you just get across that line. We watch Frank Biela take the Audi back out, still shown in 2nd place, still shown 3 laps behind the Alan McNish car. There he goes. And the girls are still here. The girls running strongly here. The number 81 car is shown in 21st position. Cindy Lux, Davina Galitza, and Belinda Endres, all female team here. A lot of interest, a lot of newspaper stories about these girls. And they got a whack earlier on. You can see the right side of that car damaged. But apart from the measles, they're having a good time.
Doing a great job, too. I'll tell you that much right now. They've stayed out of trouble except for that whack. And then, like he said, they got whacked by one of the P cars. Well, so who hasn't?
But what about the measles?
The measles are getting worse.
Well, they are reliable. They will be delighted, those girls will be, just to finish this race. We don't have far to go. We'll be right back.
Long time ago.
Well, that'd be like 37. That's late 30s, mid to late 30s.
See, I just walked right between the wheels. 38.
Ask your buddy there.
How'd you know that?
You know, I'm up on that.
Do you know that?
He knows that.
I'm pretty up on that.
It is.
stuff.
It is
38.
30s.
38.
It's definitely 30s.
It's 38.
That's when they were in Grand Prix racing.
Okay.
Have they ever done their marketing?
Look at this here. Look.
And
That was
when
Capello, wasn't it? Wasn't that Capello? Wasn't that Capello? And that cost them the lead, and that cost them the race, ultimately.
That was not an Audi in that shot, that last shot.
Yes, it was. That hit the wall?
No, go back.
The one with the rear end?
No,
change?
go back.
Can we back up? Hold on, you get back up. Not that far.
Anybody know who the 4 stars?
I don't
Volkswagen?
remember.
No.
It's something.
Oh. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was what?
Yeah, I can't remember.
I know what it is. Okay, next shot.
Next shot. Keep going.
Next shot. Next shot. PANOZ.
Yeah, right. That was not.
We are back and we are live, and as you can see from these pictures that were taken in the late 30s, Auto Union, which later became Audi, have a history of success in Grand Prix racing, and then, of course, onto sports car racing, where they have developed a freight train of success here. This is the Sebring 12-hour race. Tom Christensen got to drive that car home, and that was really only the start of success, because they went from America back to Europe to the biggest one of all, the Le Mans 24-hour race. And Jeremy, we all know what happened there.
Well, boy, I mean, they dominated that Sebring race, but no one expected this freight train. Swept the top 3 positions. Small, you know, it wasn't a perfect day, but they did an unbelievable job. Here was one of those 4-minute gearbox rear clip changes on that Audi. Just an incredible performance. Rolled it back out onto the racetrack. And of course, this car has just been dominant. Look at it on the dolly system there.
And boy, did that ever raise the bar for everybody in sports car racing, to be able to not just build a fast car, but to respond to difficulty like Audi did. That just changed the face of sports car racing. Okay, we are blessed with another special guest, because we have watched the ladies do their job and do it very well. Cindy Lux, Davina Galitza, and Belinda Endres. And we are joined by Davina. We watched you in the car earlier on, Davina. I mean, all these girls are just delighted to have gone this far, because this is, I mean, it's such a great performance.
Well, we were really pleased because, you know, we only did about 20 laps each in practice. This is a completely new car. None of us had driven it before. I barely even knew where the controls were. In fact, when we got a yellow and my team manager said, let's make the mixture lean, I actually didn't even know where the switch was. I had to ask him where it was on the dash.
How did this whole thing come about, that you 3 girls would end up in this car at this event?
Well, Cindy was very keen for myself and her to drive together, because after we raced together so much last year in the Women's GT Series, she wanted us to form a team and do some endurance, because she thought we'd make a great pair. And she knew the team very well, the G&W racing team very well, and she had a lot of confidence in them. And I actually was keener to run with the Viper because, you know, it's a faster car and everything, the Chamberlain Viper. But I was convinced to try the Porsche, and I'm delighted because the Viper has actually stopped and we've kept going, and it's keeping going is what you need.
Just stay with us here, Davina, just for a minute as we watch the number 4 car here. Andy Pilgrim is behind the wheel, and the lead changes here as these boys come in out of the pits. Pilgrim is still showing in the lead in that Corvette. However, on the same lap, about 23 seconds behind, was the Viper with Tommy Archer behind the wheel. And every time one or other of these cars have stopped, the lead has changed. And that may be happening again. We watched the number 3 car, which is 13th overall. David Donahue, Dominic Dupuis, and Belloc's car.
And with less than 30 laps to go, we're absolutely certain that the number 4 car with Andy Pilgrim on board will be able to get to the finish.
I wonder will fuel become an issue between the Corvette and the Viper, and whether anybody can turn it into an advantage. Andrew?
Yeah, well, the situation is that the Vipers are all fueled up and will go to the finish now. There's no question or doubt about that. The 93 car just made its pit stop, and David Donahue got out of the car and Belloc got into it to take it to the finish. So I don't think there really is an issue here. I think the action will be out on the track. The Vets versus the Vipers.
Thank you, Andrew. Davina, you were the British record holder for downhill skiing, is that right?
Yes, 125 miles an hour. That's about
skis.
what this Porsche does on the back straight.
And you were on skis. As we watch these, the night races here, how difficult is it to see at those type of speeds?
Actually, I find it a lot easier, especially in our cars, because we can tell when the faster cars are coming up behind us much easier. The white lights show up, the prototypes show up much better, and I find that everyone's a lot more gentlemanly at night. They're a bit more cautious, whereas during the day they try and hit you off the track.
That makes a change for what we saw earlier.
Did you get slammed at all by any of the prototypes? Because there was hardly anyone that seemed to not have contact, and your car looks like it had a little contact.
Yes, sadly Cindy got spun around by prototype right at the beginning of the race, and then she got T-boned by another car, and it has a bit of rear wheel wobble, but you can drive through it actually.
Well, Davina, we know you're going quickly because we've been expressing your little dots that are on the car all around. You're driving them completely off the back. They're flying off as you go down the straightaway.
Looks like curing the measles the longer you go on here.
Yeah, well, it was, yeah, you're right. I actually wanted them to take those dots off, actually, but they found that everyone liked them, or the whole crowd liked the dots, so I gave in and let them keep the dots.
What few people here may know is that myself and Davina were teammates in Formula One back in 1978. We both drove the Hesketh Formula One car, and I want to forget what it was like, and I think Davina wants to forget too, but it was an interesting time, wasn't it, that we both actually made it to Formula One.
The most fun thing for me was actually working with James Hunt and Lord Hesketh, who were the most brilliantly amusing people of all time. The car we were driving actually sort of buried our careers at that time, but never mind.
We survived.
We survived.
Okay.
I'm still driving.
Yeah, exactly. Still putting on a good show here. We've just had an email from Barbara Endress, Belinda's mother, who says, "Girls, keep up the good work."
Thank you, Barbara. Belinda's doing a fabulous job. She was a late add, as you know, to our team, and she's really, really done a super job.
You can email us directly right here at our booth. Go to speedvision.com, click on the link, and we will take your emails right here on the booth and try and get as many on the air as we can. Davina, thank you so much for coming to join us. We've enjoyed watching the all-female team. And as we go to break, a quick look at the top 10. Audi's still there. We'll be back. We are back live on Speed Vision. Derek Daly, Dorsey Schrader, and Jeremy Dale here in the booth. We have Calvin Fish and Andrew Marriott in the pit lane. We have less than an hour to go at this signature event for the American Le Mans Series. And as you can see, the difficulty of night has descended upon us. As Davina Galissa just told us, it is actually not that difficult, even at these speeds, to see where you go, particularly having raced during the daytime. If you take it down through the night session, there's one of the PANOZ cars. We've watched them, the PANOZ cars. David Brabham, in fact, with Magnussen, is now on the podium. They are running in third place in that PANOZ, the second PANOZ car with Graf, O'Connell, and KATOH is in 4th. And JJ Leto and Jörg Müller, who lost so much time on the pits with that rear bodywork damage, is now running 5th. Calvin?
Well, the number 1 car is running 3rd, Jan Magnussen behind the wheel, but the car is a real handful, Derek. They had the damage to the front suspension in the early going. They didn't repair it effectively, and the drivers have just struggled on. David Brabham got out of the car and said the car is a nightmare. Dave Price said we put Jan Magnussen back in the car to see if he can find the final cars that he has not hit today. They believe he's pretty much hit everyone out there on the racetrack, tongue-in-cheek. But car is really struggling. They're changing the left front on every stop because it's just rooting that left front. There's so much understeer in the car.
So, Jan Magnussen having a field day out here on the PANOZ. A front-engined car. Trailblazers are these PANOZ cars. Our PANOZ teams trying to make that car ultimately successful. But when you talk about David Brabham, of course, the Brabham name evokes so many memories. Back in Formula One, great heydays, but of course it was Black Jack himself who started the great family tradition and started, in fact, a revolution when in 1961 he brought a rear-engined car, the Cooper Climax, to the Indianapolis 500. Just look at those skinny rear tires. This changed the face of motor racing forever. Dan Gurney, up into 1967 now, another man who built and raced his own cars, won the Belgian Grand Prix in an Eagle with a Westlake. This is, of course, the 14-mile racetrack at the Nürburgring that last was used in 1976 when Niki Lauda almost lost his life. This was a win for Jack Brabham. And have a look here. This is son Jeffrey, who sits tall and proud because he's sitting on his wallet. But this is the car that changed the face of racing. Of course, Jeffrey then came to IMSA and basically dominated IMSA GTP racing with the Nissan, championship after championship. What a great run that I was lucky enough to be part of back in the 80s and 90s. In fact, we won here the last time we were here. Jeff had a total of 3 wins here at Road Atlanta. What an era of sports car racing that was. The number 7 BMW is in trouble again. Ominous smoke plumes out the back. The number 10 sister car blew up very early in the race. Van Overbeek got into this thing about 40 minutes ago, and he is in. Will he even make it to the pits?
Well, there's a lot of sparks coming from the underneath side of the car. So if that's engine smoke, that wasn't good at all. He is going to make it to the pits, but there's something desperately wrong with
doors already open. Look, doors already open. He's ready to vacate if this thing bursts into flames. Pity, really, because this car has gone quite well here and in the past.
We got a PANOZ in trouble.
The number 2 car.
That's oil from the BMW, I would suspect, that did that. You saw the oil coming out.
I bet you're right. In fact, you can see it. Look at the oil slick.
Sure it is. There's oil all the way down pit lane now. And
Johnny
that's right
O'Connell. It is Johnny O'Connell who takes this thing through the grass, trying to make a turn. But look at the oil slick there. They are going to have a lot of oil flags out there because that is going to catch a lot of people out. Oh, look
at the
oil streak.
Holy cow, and you saw the sparks.
What else is hanging out of the bottom of that car?
A rod, connecting rod. It might be, I'm not sure.
Not.
Look here as we follow the oil. Of course,
look at these pictures here. The number 21 car is now off the road. You know what? This is the Aspen Knowles car again.
And this car is hurt pretty badly on the front there.
Guys, that is into the braking zone. That car slid off in the braking zone coming down the hill. Look at all these cars coming down. Driver's left, avoiding the real braking line, which is driver's right.
And
that car slid off.
You see, Jeremy, where that car hit the wall over there. It's come across that road and into the gravel trap. It hit quite hard indeed.
Well, that's the thing. It hit the wall before it ever got to the trap.
I will tell you, boys, Shane Lewis, Kurt Wagner, and Bob Mazzucola, who I met Bob for the first time this weekend, they have had the worst luck of anybody this year in racing. They have got caught up in everybody else's accident. They've gone off the road before in other people's oil, and now it happens again. The number 21 car when they were running 3rd on the podium in GT, and that car is very, very heavily damaged.
This is when you really want a teammate to encounter the oil before you so he can tell you on the radio that there's oil there so you don't crash your car as you look at the 2 PANOZs. Of course, we saw Johnny O spin. The 1 car, of course, would have had that information.
Well, Dorsey, I mean, the thing is that as you come up that straightaway, think about it, in these prototypes, over 185 miles an hour down into that braking zone, and it's very hard. Yes, the flaggers do hold up. Look at all the oil and debris under that car. The flaggers do hold up a flashlight to show you the debris flag, but I'm sorry, once you come down the hill there, you commit to that braking zone. There's no getting away from it.
You don't have time, exactly, to look away at a flag to see what people are doing. You're too busy. Look at Shane Lewis. Look, there's an argument going on here. Shane Lewis is absolutely livid. You know what he's saying? Where were the flags? Where were the flags? That's exactly what he's saying.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Wow, he is livid.
He is really hot. He's yelling at that corner worker. Obviously, the guy said something to Riley pretty badly right there. We got a full course yellow out because of this. A very wise decision. Shane Lewis absolutely.
Now remember what happened. Remember what happened at the Le Mans 24-hour race. Shane Lewis was running extremely well. Look at the damage here. But Shane Lewis hit the wall on the right-hand side. At the Le Mans 24-hour race, exactly this same thing happened in the opening laps when a P car blew up, and Shane Lewis had a huge crash, ended up in the hospital because of somebody else's incident.
Well, I was going to say, in testing when we came here, you can brake, even at the speed, 190 mile per hour, you can brake at the 2 marker. So if a prototype, like you said, Jeremy, comes over that hill at night, expecting to brake, say, at the 2.5, if you get in that oil, there's no way.
Man.
Look under the BMW, all the stuff that's hanging out, and I have no idea what that is.
Brand new team put together by Bob Mazzucola from Staten Island this year. He has stood behind his 2 drivers here, Kurt Wagner and Shane Lewis, but they have had some damaged builds this year. Calvin?
Court, your luck has not been good, mate.
You know, you're right. I thought we would have had some here. We've been running strong all night. The car's been brilliant. The Michelin's held up phenomenally. Team did a great job. I mean, I'm not really sure what happened out there. I kind of walked away after I saw us in the gravel, but you know, I'm not really sure what's going on here with the luck side. I wish we could use a little more luck, but the car did really well. The Porsche held up amazing, and tires were phenomenal. The car ran like a top, and I know we would have been on the podium, but you know, sometimes it's just not your time.
Did Shane say anything on the radio? I know he's very frustrated out there, believing that there was not an oil flag displayed.
Yeah, well, no, I didn't hear anything on the radio at all. I wasn't on a headset, so I'm sure he'll debrief when he gets back, but who knows? I'm just, you know, a little frustrated at the moment.
Great performance anyway.
Thanks, mate.
Wow, just look at that. Remember the speed these 911s do, in excess of 155 miles an hour, and it looks like he just plowed straight into it. There's some of the supporters for Shane Lewis.
That was probably the guy that was giving him the hug.
Well, they won't be too happy having seen that. Actually, that's not. I was with these people yesterday. That's in turn 3 where they're at right there.
And this is one of the better teams in the GT category, run by Mike Colucci. They came here with a complete new aerodynamic package, new front nose, new fenders, new rear bodywork, new under trays. It didn't work the way they wanted, so after Friday's practice, our Thursday practice, they put it right back to the original. But this is a very good team that needs a dose of hugs and luck. We are back and the campfires are burning. Don't forget, just in 2 weeks' time, the American Le Mans Series goes to the gorgeous Laguna Seca, Northern California racetrack. It will be live on Sunday, October 15th, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Somebody else hot under the collar is Shane Lewis as they drag the remains of his race car out of the gravel trap. He was livid, and rightly so. I mean, we say rightly so. Maybe it was hard for the track marshals to see that oil slick being so dark out there, Jeremy.
I mean, that's why I said, even if they had the flag up, and even if they had a flashlight on it, or even, I mean, there is some lighting there as you approach turn 12, the chicane area, but you come over a blind crest, even in that GT car, you're going 150, 155 miles an hour. You're very committed, as you said, Dorsey, to that braking zone. And if it's online and there is as much of it as has come out of this BMW, you don't have a hope.
No. And the corner workers wouldn't have a hope of knowing that until the car spun, and he was the first one to spin.
Actually, Jeff just sent us an email a little bit a while ago asking, how do drivers see corner marshals? flags in the dark? Do they use lights? Do they?
Well, a lot of these corner areas are lit by these temporary lighting standards, but at the same time, they do use flashlights and they have smaller local lighting. But the thing is, either way, it's very, very hard to see.
Though sometimes on a flag like that, they'll put a flashlight behind the flag and stick it out there so you have a backlit. But most of them are somewhat backlit on their own, like Jeremy says.
I will tell you, at racing speed, even in the daytime, no matter what people tell you, it's hard to see the flags even in full daylight because you're just so busy trying to keep your car on the racetrack and trying to keep away from everybody else.
And remember in the middle of the afternoon when we were interviewing one of the drivers, and said you have to watch 4 different cars, not just the car that's in front of you or your car. You have to watch all the cars around you, and then the flags, and then the racetrack. It's extremely difficult to focus on any just one thing, like where the corner flagman is.
We are still trying to run down Shane Lewis for you, because I definitely want to hear what he said to that track marshal.
Well, Derek, the biggest thing this yellow does is it closes up the battle in GTS between the 92 car and the 4 car, the Viper and the Corvette. They are on the same lap. The 3 car right now is shown a lap down to those 2 cars, but the 92 car and the 4 car are on the lead lap, on the same lap.
Also, Jeremy, if there was in fact a fuel issue on the 3 car, now that probably is absolved because of the slow laps behind the pace car.
We're still curious as to what happened to that BMW to throw all the oil on the racetrack. Calvin, do you know?
We believe it was a prop shaft, Derek, actually came loose and tore an oil line apart, so there's a problem with the drivetrain, and ultimately that then created the oil spillage around the whole racetrack and caused big problems for a number of the cars out there, but not a good day for PTG.
No, both cars gone. We lost the number 10 car, which Brian Cunningham, I believe, started. We lost that very early when the engine blew up. And just look at the sandbags they're unloading here to try and dry up this oil.
I'm sorry. Derek, a prop shaft is an English term for the people of the United States would call a drive shaft, and you yourself saw that hanging out from underneath the BMW.
There's an answer to Jeff's question about do they light the corner stations. Well, you can see this one here is lit quite well, but again, in the braking zone, you are so busy watching exactly where you're trying to position your car that you don't often see the flags as easily as you might think you would see them.
And based on where they are putting that oil dry down, it's going entirely all the way down the hill towards the turning point, so you're already committed. I mean, you can come over that hill and see the flag. You're already in that braking zone.
Yeah, so the PTG BMW team can pack up and go home. They were real challengers here, but the challenge is now over. Andrew?
Yeah, well, they will have a new driver in the Adelaide race. Jeffrey Brabham, who we saw a few moments ago on that historical piece. Jeffrey will drive in the Adelaide race in a PTG 3rd car. So he'll be making his comeback to racing, of course. Quite recently he's been racing in the Australian Touring Car Championship for BMW, where he's done extremely well, but hasn't raced for just over a year. So it'd be nice to see Jeffrey back and actually racing in this series in the race they're calling the Race of 1,000 Years.
Yes, indeed. It will take place Australian time on New Year's Eve. In fact, it goes through from New Year's Eve into New Year's Day. It'll be good to see Jeff back. I mean, he was so good in these big sports cars. I know he took him a year or two to get used to the smaller saloon cars, but give him a bit of time. He'll be quick in everything. Gives us just a chance here to talk about next year's endurance racing coverage that you'll see right here live on Speed Vision. Here it is. Starting off with a Rolex 24 at Daytona. You won't miss any of that. And then we're going to roll on to cover the 12 Hours of Sebring live. What a classic that was this year. Of course, in June, we'll do our marathon again, cover all 24 hours live of the Le Mans 24-Hour Classic. And then back here October 6th for the 4th running of the Petit Le Mans right here at Road Atlanta. We only have about 40 miles of racing left.
MG, for 35 years, a magic name to all who love thoroughbred sports cars. A name with a tradition. but a tradition that never rests on its laurels. It took another great stride forward in 1955 at Le Mans, that unique event where quality counts for most and luck for least. Here, the public saw for the first time a new and remarkable product.
MG stands for Morris General. It is a name that is about to reappear in motor racing back to Le Mans. And with more on that story, let's go to Andrew.
First, I just love the commentary. I've been practicing that. It was actually a chap called Bob Danvers-Walker. Anyway, MG are coming back to Le Mans next year. They're coming in the 675, the lightweight prototype category. Remember this year, it was won by the Multimatic Lola. And indeed, it's Lola who are going to build the MG. Now, of course, the Rover Group, of course, have recently bought themselves out of the BMW situation, and Rover encompasses MG. Part of the consortium which bought them out was actually Martin Brain, who owns Lola cars. They've got together, and so there will be a Lola-built 675, a lightweight car that's going to run at Le Mans, but it may also run in the American Le Mans series as well. Very exciting news for all the MG fans, a lot of them out there. It's been since 1965, I think, when Andrew Hedges finished second in his class with an MGB at Le Mans, so MGB will be back. Good for British fans.
Well, there's some real excitement down here in the GTS category right now. We've got two cars on the same lap, the 92 car, led by Tommy Archer, Hugues de Chaunac. You guys have been battling all season long, you and the vets. You won by 30 seconds at Daytona. It looked like it could be even closer here tonight.
Yes, I think it's a very, very close race. You know, with the safety car, everything can happen during all this race. And we have the proof just during this race that you never know till the end, till the last lap, if we can win or not. It's very, very close with Corvette. They are doing a great job, but it is really to be lucky or unlucky with the yellow flag.
Is the car in good shape? Has Tommy got a good car underneath him right now?
Yeah, it's in a good shape. Tommy is in a good shape, but you know, when you are 1 minute in front and suddenly just 15 laps before the end, you lose everything. You have to do it again. The pressure on the Tommy will be very hard.
Well, they've got the Iron Man, Andy Pilgrim, behind the wheel of that vet. He's going to try and chase him down, guys. Let's see him watch.
And don't forget, although we know that McNish, Capello and Alboreto are safely in the lead in the first of the Audis, there is a battle brewing here for second place, because the second Audi, Piero Biele and Tom Christensen, is being run down and caught by David Brabham and Jan Magnussen in that PANOZ car. They are both on the same lap. In fact, the PANOZ is only 7 seconds behind that second place Audi. This is beginning to have a familiar ring, almost like last year. The PANOZ running second with a stronger car ahead. The stronger car broke, so you never know what might happen from here on in. The PANOZ car is also fourth. 14 laps to go. JJ Leto and Dirk Mueller, or Jörg Mueller, still hang on to that 5th place. And the first of the GTS cars is running in 6th place. Good run, led right now by Tommy Archer.
And Derek, that gap still about 7 seconds, 7.9 actually, between the 78 and the 1, the Audi and the PANOZ. The gap right now between the GTS leaders, the number 92 Viper and the number 4 Corvette, right now sits at 12 seconds.
Quick email. In fact, we've had several emails that have asked, are the Audis all-wheel drive?
Well, the answer is?
Of course, no, they're not. They're rear-wheel drive only, and they've got a lot of horsepower on those rear wheels, I can tell you that.
Well, of course, the rules in this type of racing do not permit all-wheel drive, and of course, Audi's been so successful with all-wheel drive, and you know, their success has literally led to the banning of all-wheel drive in some of the touring car championships around the world. And just to keep life simple, all-wheel drive is not allowed in these Le Mans classes.
Because it was too fast, it was too good. In England, they got banned also, the British Saloon Car Championship, because it was just too bad. Look at this boy kicking the dirt up here, number 1.
Oh, they do run all-wheel drive Audis in the Speed Vision GT category. That's the last of the categories of four-wheel drive cars are allowed, but they do run them there.
So this is Magnussen. Magnussen is now behind the wheel of this thing, running down Piero. Took another second off.
Don't say running down. Remember what they said when they put him in, that he hasn't hit everybody yet.
Actually, he hit an Audi already. In fact, he hit the Audi that he's trying to catch.
Exactly.
Well, in fact, he caused the problem that he's now capitalizing on. Yes, he did.
He's a bright guy.
Yes. Little did he know. That wasn't in the plan.
In charge of his own destiny. So.
Yeah, he is now pulling at least a second a lap. 14 laps to go, only 7 seconds behind. So this PANOZ could well and truly get himself into second place. Look at the dust and dirt offline here.
I wonder, Derek, if since this is a home track for PANOZ, if they absolutely do any night driving testing here. You think they might?
Wow, I don't know. I know when they came here testing with Mario Andretti, it was all done during the daytime, despite the fact that Mario was going to do the Le Mans 24-hour race. They gave Paul Newman a run in this car. He was in the 15s. Believe it or not, they're in the 16s now. So Paul Newman ran within a second of the pace that Magnussen is doing right now.
Watch the gap here. It was 6.5 last time. It's 5.5 now.
Yeah, second a lap. Second a lap, Magnussen beginning to run him down. There's a really good look now at the second set of front headlights on these cars that go away from the front at about 45 degrees to light up that all-important apex and the curbing.
And those center lights now are brand new for the PANOZ. They never had those before. Those are a recent addition, and those, of course, point straight up the front.
Guys, I'm also watching the gap in the GTS class. Again, it was 14 seconds. It's down to just a little bit under 9 seconds right now with the Viper and the Corvette. So we're going to watch both of those gaps.
Look at that, lap 3, he set fastest lap of the race. The track has got so dirty since then because so many cars off the racetrack. And there is oil, a lot of oil still on the racetrack now. We know that in the braking zone for that last turn, the new turn that took out the dip. There's our top 10. We are back and we are live, and we only show about 8 laps to go, and we know second place is a major threat here because Magnussen is definitely running down Frank Biela, who is in the second of the Audis. It is a damaged Audi because of an incident earlier that Jan Magnussen caused when he sideswiped or rear swiped the back end of the Audi, broke the rear diffuser, it fell off eventually. They have now lost overall downforce in the car. The balance isn't necessarily changed, as Emanuele Pirro told us earlier on, but it took away overall downforce, made the car slower, and Magnussen in the lead PANOZ is now beginning to run him down. It is less than 3.8 seconds.
Jeremy, did you notice that the rear brakes on the PANOZ are glowing quite brightly and the fronts are not, indicating a bias toward the rear?
Yeah, which is not something we've seen at all tonight. Of course, this is probably as hard as he's pushed this car all day, because he really is pushing hard. There are the two cars. The Audi went through the shot. There's the PANOZ, and there's the gap at 3.9.
And they're on the same straightaway.
Oh, and the Audi's in big traffic too.
And Dorsey, you mentioned that when the rear brake discs glow right there, it means when you say the bias towards the rear, if he stands too hard, he can lock up those rears very, very easily. Isn't that strange? The right front glowed at the top of the hill, and the left rear glowed when he went through turn 1.
Well, characteristically, they have more cooling to the front brakes anyway, so maybe that's cooling the fronts off, but still in all, you shouldn't see the rears glowing like that. You're right, if it locks the rear brake, it will snatch around backwards very quickly.
It's exactly what happened Jörg Müller last year with just a few laps to go. You look through our overall positioning here on the top of the screen, because we don't want to take away from any of the action. We are still trying to find Shane Lewis, by the way. We cannot find him. He's run away somewhere.
He was in the woods last week.
He was, yeah. Trying to find who spilled all the oil. They running 1-2?
Yeah, well, there are the Audis, and here comes Magnussen.
He is.
Look at this gap.
There won't be a gap by the time you get to turn 1.
3.9 seconds the last time. Not anymore. So David Brabham did yeoman service in this car earlier on, led the race for a long time, then left it over to Magnussen to finish off the job. I believe David is now with our Calvin Fish. Calvin?
Give the car's a bit of a handful for Jan out there, but the 78 car's got damage too. Who's going to win it?
Yeah, we're both being in the wars, I'm afraid, but I mean, you know, it's going to be very close, I think, to the end. looks like the leader's got in between us now, so maybe they're just trying to protect each other. So, you know, Jan's doing a fantastic job. You know, the car's really difficult to drive. Once we had the accident, and it just completely changed the whole characteristic of the car. And we've been just fighting back the whole way, and we haven't given up. And to think that we could get second place after all that, then we've done very well.
I know you've been changing the left front regularly. As he pushes through this stint, is that going to deteriorate and the car's pace actually get worse through this run?
Yeah, I mean, during the run it does get slightly worse, and then the big thing is that it's actually quite loose because a lot of toe in the front. So I'm sure Jan's hanging on for grim death, and he'll give it a go.
Great run today, mate.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
This is tag team wrestling here, because now we put the leader, as you can see, as David said, is between Magnussen and the prey. Biela is now ahead. The leader may do blocking. I think that's a really dangerous thing.
I think
for
it's
anybody to do.
Yeah, you're right about that, because Magnussen's not going to have much of that before he takes his diffuser off as well.
The front of that PANOZ car looks pretty big and strong. All he's got to do is give a little love tap to Capello.
Well, if he does it just right, maybe it'll get his toe in straightened out and he'll take the diffuser off the other car.
That is really risky here. I don't know why they're doing this. Oh. And you know what? This could be very subtle. Look what's happening here now.
Oh, he's got a good run going.
Yeah, but Capello's moving away here. Just inches away. Boy, this is a big risk for Magnussen. In a car that the toe out is wrong.
Right there, the Corvette just got in trouble. That's the...
Magnussen, look, he's all over the back of him.
And that Corvette, that number 3 Corvette, is in trouble, Dorsey.
Yikes.
And that was the third place Corvette, which was a contender.
We got 6 laps to go. 6 laps to go. Can Magnussen be held off by the lead Audi, or will they get in trouble over traffic? Boy, they can trip over anything at night here. Look at this. Look at this.
Oh, yeah.
He is furious.
He can't believe it. Why are you putting my car in the middle of this?
Exactly. I've done everything, and now you're taking this chance. What a gamble to take here. Let him go, he's saying. Let him past. Man, I tell you what, if something happens here, Magnussen's going to take a swing at somebody.
And Magnussen has nothing to lose in this battle. He might as well take this guy out.
Look at this. Look at him. Look at him sideways.
That's the looseness that Brabham was talking about with the towing.
Former Stewart Grand Prix driver, didn't make it in Formula One, which is to the surprise of so many people, after a tremendous debut with McLaren when he subbed for Mark Blundell. Then he came to the PANOZ team. He really has settled down here. Himself and Brabham are a great partnership. But this is a dust-up.
He's got a run. He's got a bit of a run here.
Almost 1,000 miles of racing, and Magnussen is all over the back of the leading car, but that's not for position. He's acting as a blocker right now, trying to keep him away from Capello in the second place car.
And Capello is really getting a benefit of all this, getting a big lead now. You hardly even see him in that frame.
Look at the traffic they have to negotiate. 4 laps to go. Less than 4 laps to go. McNish is livid.
Oh, trouble with the Viper. Locks up the brakes. Is going to go off the outside just a little bit, and that is for position. The 4 car, that is for your GTS lead. These guys duking it out.
Look at this here. Can you believe after almost 10 hours of racing, they are covered by a blanket here?
Pilgrim all over the back of the the Viper, headed down in the brake zone.
The brake zone, the Corvette was been good in the brake zone. Oh, look at the Viper, blocks him. Blocks him down to the inside, defensive line. 4 laps to go for the GTS boys. What a boxing match this has been for the whole day. Daylight, dusk, nighttime. There's a 78 car, still safe. Here's the blocker, unsafe. Here's the GTS cars, very unsafe.
Very unsafe.
Well, guys, this is so big for the Corvette guys.
Stand back.
This is so big for the Corvette guys to win this race. They've won the one sprint race, but they want to win an endurance race. They want to really set their mark. And if the Viper guys are going to leave, this is really their last chance in the 2000 season to set their mark on one of these major endurance races.
And although the Audi and the PANOZ are both wounded cars. This Viper and this Corvette are no way wounded. These guys are running as hard as the cars can possibly be run.
So Andy Pilgrim, it is on his shoulders to see, can he pressurize Carl Wendlinger? So much more experience has Carl Wendlinger from his Formula One and a sports car background. Boy, it is hard to believe at the end of 1,000 miles of racing that we have so many battles going on so late in this race. It is Tommy Archer in the Viper. Tommy Archer versus Andy Pilgrim. Oh, this is good. Good stuff here.
And guess who's coming?
The GT battle is still being led by Masson and Wallach.
Yeah, but
here's the leaders.
And they're going to catch them in the next 2 laps or so, if not this lap. They're going to catch there's the leaders right there.
3 laps to go.
Oh, look at that.
Look at the Viper, blocks him. Oh,
Inside.
the brake zone. The brake zone for turn 1. Oh, Pilgrim goes down the inside. The Viper's off.
He's going to have a good save so far.
He tried to stop the move by the Corvette and he wasn't strong enough. And now the boys can celebrate. It's not over yet. He's got 2 more laps to go. What a boxing match this has been at the GTS. There go the leaders.
I don't think they even touched. I don't think they got together.
No, but he could see him coming down and he braked later than he dared and couldn't make the corner. Man, hang on to your hollyhocks here, boys.
You see the guys, the Chevrolet guys jumping up and down in there.
I will tell you, there's high heartbeats. Look at the boys here. Look at this. All in the line. Cadillac moves out of the way. Magnussen is still trying to get by the leader. Still trying to get by the leader. He's running out of time, though. Capello has now moved away to about a 4 or 5 second gap ahead of Magnussen, who is 3rd. Capello is 2nd. Frank Biela is in the leading car. He is he got it. Capello is in the lead car.
He got it, Derek.
He did. That was the pass. He got him.
Now, long way to go to get to where he has to get.
Does he have enough time? Does he have enough time to try and run down 2nd place? I don't think so. No white flag yet.
2 laps to go, I would guess. Not a lot of time.
Next time by will be the white flag. Can Magnussen run him down?
Magnussen using every bit of road on the exit of 5, jumps it up over the curbs. Traffic here for the Audi. Big traffic through 6 and into 7.
Trying to catch Biela. He ran him down at a 2nd a lap at one stage.
They're not far apart. They're not that far apart.
A 2nd a lap at one stage. Look at this. There they are. The 2 of them. They're in the braking zone. He's going to have just about a lap and about 3 corners left. There is Biela in the brake zone. There is Magnussen.
Oh, and he's right there. And with 1 lap to go, they'll get to white when they go down through turn 12.
White flag, it's not over yet. This is far from over. Biela is hanging on for all he's worth, and there is the white flag. 1 more lap to go. Magnussen has the prey in his sights.
Slow car in the way. Gets out of the way. 2.5 miles, a little less than that.
Braking zone at the end of the hill, impossible to pass. Maybe into turn 6.
The leader was just behind these guys, so the leader has taken the checker. You can see Alboreto and McNish, they've won this race, but remember, these guys were just in front of the 77 car.
You know what? And that has caused this battle, because if the leader stayed ahead of him, the race would already be over, and this fight would be over. So Biela is forced to challenge, or to hold off the challenge for 1 more lap. Magnussen is not close enough.
No.
It would be a kamikaze move from here to try and make this pass. He is nowhere near close enough. Wow, what a fight this has been.
Derek, wait, we do have some traffic here.
Do we?
Oh, and he's right there.
Who, baby?
2
1 more
turns
corner.
to go.
Top of the hill. Will the traffic play a part here? Top of the hill. Magnus is going to force the issue. No, they clear the traffic, and Biela comes home in 2nd. Magnussen hangs on for 3rd. Wow, that was worth the price of admission, but the winner is Alan McNish, Capello, and Michele Alboreto. But here is the GTS fight, and don't tell me this won't be a champagne celebration. Chevrolet Corvette come home to win the first endurance race of the year. They beat the Viper. What a fight that was. And the GT winner will be the number 51 car, Sasha Masson and Bob Wallach.
And look at that.
We think
it's smoking like
he's going to limp. He's going to limp across the line.
Is he?
But the emotional winner here has to be Alan McNish. Andrew?
Alan, congratulations. Well, you were nail-biting right to the end there.
Yeah, it was a bit tense. The last hour, thankfully, was a little bit more secure, but it was very, very tense for Audi for a 1-2. But we managed it.
What a great race, though.
Yes, it was. Well, the American Le Mans Series is very tightly fought, and you've really got to push all the way, and it goes and comes with you sometimes, and it goes away again others. But like I say, thankfully, we came out top.
Some words for your co-drivers?
Well, they're fantastic, weren't they? It's a team effort. That's the thing. You can't. It's not just about one person. It's about Audi. It's about the drivers, and it's about a wonderful team effort.
He always chooses the right words, Calvin.
Well, you talk about team efforts. We saw another one here in the GTS category. Kelly Collins, and he put on a great final stint there, and you get it finally.
How awesome was that? I mean, I sat there and I was right next to her official, and he's sitting there. He goes, you know, at this point right now, he goes, I'd rather either win or not win at all. And then that happened. So you've heard it from the big man.
It was a seesaw battle all the way through. I mean, all four of you guys, you know, two Vipers, the two vets, just a dogfight all day long, and it was going to come down to the final laps.
It was a dogfight all day long, and it's amazing because there's a timing and scoring problem, but now it's all void anyways. But we had the lead by quite a bit for a while there, and then we had a bit of a problem, but we still had apparently a lead on everybody else, but we kept fighting. We said, all right, rather than win this by default or some other crazy way, we're just going to do it as hard as we can. We drove our butts off, and Frank and Andy did a fantastic job.
When you were in the car and you drove around, came out of the pits there midway through, and that wheel was loose, did you think the day was over?
I thought the day was over. Boy, I mean, I had to do everything I could just to keep the car on the track. I don't know if you saw that on footage, but it was tough going down the back straight. It was snapping all over the place.
Great job today, mate. Well done.
Thanks, Calvin.
Andy Pilgrim, Kelly Collins, and Frank Freon. What a day's work they have done, and couldn't have won it in better style. We'll be back for more of the celebrations in just a moment. That was the 5th ALMS race in a row for Audi, and a great celebration. But the GT class winners, Sasha Masson and Bob Wallach, also time to celebrate. Calvin?
It absolutely is. And Bob, when you were in the gravel trap there in turn 60, did you think you'd be here in victory lane tonight?
No, not at all. I mean, I got caught in traffic. You know, it even with 30 years of experience, it does happen once in a while. So, well. What can I say? We're very happy, obviously, and lucky at the same time. But victory is a victory. I don't know if we deserve it, but the team does deserve it. And we had just a fantastic car, well prepared, good tires, Michelin tires, and everything worked well. But the stupid mistake I did.
Well, Sasha, it's a great run for you, mate. I mean, you thought you'd lost it when you lost that lap there under caution, and you had the oiling problems with the car. You had to put a lot of oil in the car, but it came through. The Porsche hung in there, and this is good for the championship.
Definitely, I think I'm leading, and that's important for me, of course. And I repeat the win that I had last year. Last year was my first race in America. I was here. I won immediately. And it's a big thing to repeat that, because it's very, very difficult. I think it will not happen to me very often again.
Great job tonight.
Thank you.
Let's have a look at what I think might be the pass of the whole day here. This was just spectacular when Andy Pilgrim put a pass on the Viper that was just absolutely dynamite.
Well, and you could see Archer went to the middle of the road to defend it. He didn't think Andy was going to go, and Tommy Archer totally overcommitted to turn one. I thought he was going to get the wall.
Let's join the celebrations. Andrew?
Andy Pilgrim. Derek Daly just said that was a dynamite pass that you made.
It was a pass for sure. I kind of psyched him out the lap before, so I kind of stayed all the way left, and he was in the middle of the track, and I don't think he thought I was going to do it. And he braked late, and I just dived it straight inside. We came together down there a little bit, and I'm not sure he went off, I think, but I was already past him, so it was then or never, because I knew the LMPs were coming, so I had to do it then.
Thanks very much. Let's go to the booth.
Great celebrations tonight for that Chevrolet Corvette team. led by Doug Feehan. He said it's a family operation with the engineers. They deserve the win.
Speed Vision's coverage of the Petit Le Mans is brought to you by Porsche, who wish to remind you there is no substitute.
Let's take a quick look at our full field summary, unofficial results. Audi 1-2 again, 4 times this year they finished 1-2. Sears Point, Texas, Road Atlanta, and of course at Sebring. But as you look down through the full field, I mean, a lot of big names towards the back because of unreliability and crashes earlier.
And a lot of very, very aggressive driving, no question about it.
Dorsey, good fun?
Great fun here, I tell you. It makes me proud to be a road racer. The crowd is back, the racing's back. This is great stuff.
I think what was interesting was to follow it all the way from daylight through to the darkness, but I was really quite surprised the amount of incidents that we had all through this event. Don't forget, the American Le Mans Series rolls on to Laguna Seca in 2 weeks' time, live right here on Speed Vision at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. I would just like to take a minute to thank all the production crew here that just hung in all day long, all weekend long here to bring you such a great event and all the pictures and all the action, particularly in the pit lane. For more information on road racing, don't forget to log on to speedvision.com for every piece of information you will need. So for Sandy Heng, for Andrew Marriott, for Calvin Fish, for Jeremy Dale, for Greg Creamer, and for Dorsey Schrader, I'm Derek Daly saying so long from Road Atlanta. It was a beauty and we enjoyed it.